The first steps that any firm should engage in when trying to understand their impact on our planet and ultimately their sustainability strategy is number one, assess their current impact on our globe. Number two, come up with very clear, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based sort of strategies moving forward. Many firms will have a challenge, number one, of just understanding what are the key definitions, terms, concepts when it comes to the broad topic of sustainability, whether it's climate or social dimensions, biodiversity, governance requirements. Still further, once they've mastered all these key terms, start the collection process, fight against the resistance to change. Ultimately, what are the greatest opportunities? Many firms are really good at understanding risks and impacts, but how do you transform an organization to actually meet those challenges and still further excel is one of the hardest and most common challenges that we see to date.
One of the key findings from the ESG 100 research that Position Green released just recently was that Danish companies are the least prepared for the ESRS compared to their Swedish, Norwegian and large European peers. And that's got to be some concern, not only for those companies, but also for investors in those companies. Our advice to those companies is that they need to do a robust double materiality assessment. They need to understand where their gaps are in terms of complying with the regulations. They need to close those gaps as quickly as possible and deliver a report that demonstrates that. And unfortunately, Danish companies are going to have to invest more in doing their DMAs, closing their gaps, and reporting in line with the ESRS.
Many companies are committed to reaching net zero goals. They've signed up for science-based target initiatives or have net zero commitments internally. They all have schedules from which they want to achieve this. But no firm or organization will be able to reach net neutrality without investing in forests. The land and the importance of land in all firms' strategy cannot be underemphasized, and they must be engaged in thinking about how they can direct their funds towards supporting those processes. The European Union and Europe at large are engaged in an amazing experiment. They're trying to supercharge the concept of sustainability across all levels of our economy, creating clear, replicable and definitional concepts of what is sustainable and ultimately endorse, encourage and drive this transformation.
So the EU has set really ambitious climate goals for 2030 and 2050 to be the first climate neutral continent. Data is absolutely crucial to that because investors need information from companies to be able to invest in sustainable activities. And that's the whole premise of the ESRS and CSRD, is to require companies to report comparable and accurate data on their ESG information. So if Danes and Europeans in general value their climate targets and want to see climate change addressed, then it's important that European companies provide the data that investors need to invest in sustainable activities.